Are you looking to make Christmas cards this year, but not quite sure where to go? Well, I'm Rick Atkins, and I'm from Rick Atkins Designs, and I'm going to help you out with that. I'm going to share with you how to take one sheet of pattern paper, 12 by 12, and a few sheets of cardstock, and make 6 cards using the Sketch and Shine Pattern Paper Picks Christmas Edition number 2. All right, I'm going to flip it down. We're going to talk about your supplies you're going to need. All right, so you're going to need the Sketch and Shine Pattern Paper Picks Christmas Edition card sketch, edition number 2. This has the sketch we're going to use, our measurements, our supplies needed, how many, 6 cards. If you want to make just 1 card, there's the measurements for that. And then we have our cutting guides on the back. All right. So for this pattern paper pick, you're going to need 6 A2 card bases. I've already cut mine into 5.5 by 8.5 pieces, scored at 4 1/4. You're going to need 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 solid cardstock for your matte layers. And then you're going to need a 3-inch by 8.5-inch piece for the other matte layers. And you're going to need 1 sheet of 12 by 12 paper. I'm sure we all have some in our stash. I know I do. And then you're also going to need an 8.5 by 11 solid piece of cardstock for the focal image here. I have already cut mine down to 3 by 4 because I have embossed it. All right, so we're going to move these out of the way for the very second. And we're going to cut our pattern paper first. This is pattern paper from a paper pad from Michaels. It is from Recollections. This is from the classic Christmas paper pad. It's a huge paper pad. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is cut our pattern paper. So you're going to make sure, especially if it's directional, that you have the direction facing to the left, because we're going to cut at 5 1/4 inches. And you want to come just up to your 5 1/4 inch line. And we're going to cut. And then our next cut is also at 5 1/4. And our remaining piece is what will be cut down for our smaller sections. And we're actually going to cut that at 3/4 inch. I'll line these up in my trimmer here. And I can cut that down. So it gives me 2 3 1/4 by 12-inch strips. And now I'm going to cut these into strips of 4. There's 3. There's my other 3, so that makes 6. Now our 2 bigger pieces we're going to cut to 4 in increments of 4. So we're going to cut these down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I prefer to cut one at a time because you don't have a chance of messing the paper slipping as if you have 2 sheets going at the same time. I mean, you could totally do it. Don't get me wrong, I've done it before. I just find this a lot easier. So I get 6 card fronts plus that little extra from this 1 sheet of 12 by 12. All right, now I'm going to take my cardstock pieces. I'm going to pull in my 8.5 by 11 sheet, and I'm going to cut this down to matte layers that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So our first cut is we're going to actually cut it in half. In the center at 4 1/4. Then I'm going to flip it to the long side, and I'm going to cut it 3 1/4. And I'm not good at doing the math the other way, so I just slide it back in. I'd rather just do it this way. I know some people are like, oh, I'm doing the math. I ain't doing the math. I not do the math. All right, there's my 6 mat layers. Now this we are going to cut down into 4 1/4 inch piece. This is our 3 inch by 8 1/2 inch piece, and we're going to cut this down to 1 inch. 1 inch increments. There's one. If you have a trimmer where you don't have the slide arm, you could easily use a piece of tape and hold that down to make it easy on yourself. All right, there's my 6 layers for our smaller pieces. And we are done now with the cutting, since we don't have to cut the other one. All right, so there's our template, which you can download for free on my blog. I'll have a link below in the video description. And you also find all the supply lists there also. All right, here's my card bases, and here are my pieces. My other sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. I cut these down to 3 by 4, but I wanted to emboss them with the October embossing folder of the month from Spellbinders. So I went ahead and did that. And the name of this embossing folder is Christmas Tile. It's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 folder. It's really good. I just joined their monthly club. I got the stamp of the month and stamp and die of the month and the embossing folder, the regular embossing folder of the month. All right, so the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to fold all of our card bases in half. So we need our bone folder. So I like to give them a nice good crease. This is just craft cardstock. And again, it's A2 side folding cards. I'm making sure as I lay these down here that I actually line them up correctly. Now the whole purpose of this is to make use of your crafty supplies that you already have and help you make your Christmas cards this year and get them made. So the holiday card series, actually it was originally going to go until the end of November, but I've actually extended it until 3rd week of December. So they got 25 videos. All right, let me pull in my little guillotine because I just noticed some of the Michael's recollection is not quite 12 by 12. It was not quite square. Which happens sometimes. I mean, it's to be expected. Alright, so we're going to lay these pieces onto this piece. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I will speed this up a little for y'all. All right, we're putting our last card front on. Now we're going to take our little pieces and we're going to mat those. Just double checking myself. When I'm mass producing, I like to do one step at a time and repeat that step until it's all the way done for that set of cards. It's easier that way. You have one set of cutting guides. You don't have to get your cutter out, put it back up, get your cutter out, put it back up. Just do that whole step at a time. All right, I'm going to speed this up a little. All right, there's that layer. Now we're going to add our matte layers, or our embossed layers here to our card front. All right, so there's all of our pieces for our card sketch. Now we just have to put them together. So we're going to take our first little piece here, and this is just going to get attached to our card base. So we're going to go right there in the center. And I'm going to attach my next layer. I think that this embossed piece would be pretty in like gold or silver. If you wanted to add a metallic element, that would be pretty. Now, to keep this a shorter video, I did pre-do my focal images. All but one. I left it where I could show you how I added the embellishment to that. All right, so I've got my little embellishments here and my sentiments. My sentiments come from I just chose Happy Holidays and I stamped it in Berrylicious ink from Pink Fresh Studio. The sentiment came from a new Simon Says stamp. It's called Trees and Stars, I think. Yeah, Trees and Stars. I chose the Happy Holidays right here. I have another card planned for this stamp set later. Stay tuned. All right, but this is my little focal image. This is bird. The bird die is from Memory Box, and it is where'd my little notes go? The Barnyard Wren Die, and the foliage I could not remember where I got them from, but the closest thing I could find was the Crafter's Companion seasonal foliage element dies. But I'm sure y'all have some kind of crafty little embellishment y'all could use. All right. We're going to take a Quickie glue pen, and I'm going to add a little bit of this Quickie glue pen around the holly. Y'all are going to die. This is something Rick never does. Besides holiday. I'll use it in the holidays. Anybody can think of what it might be? Well, Rick has lost it. Oh, it's right here. We're going to use glitter. I have all kinds of glitter. I figured I might as well use it. So I just thought that was a cute little embellishment on there. And with the quickie glue pen, I don't mind the glitter too much because it's super quick. There is my little embellishment. I have already made them all. I ink blended with different shades of yellow and from Pink Fresh Studio. I will have all those listed below. But now all we got to do is add these to our card front. I think we're going to come over to the side a little bit. I might have to pop these up. I'm not sure. Let's get a block and stick on that. Follow the dimension. We might have to add that with foam tape. Trying to keep the dimension down as much as possible. I just thought they tied into the paper really nicely. And I did notice, because I didn't look the die up, I did notice that the wing, this wing that I put down here is actually supposed to go up here, but it'd be okay. It'd be okay, but we... And some of them I did use yellow cardstock. Some of them I just used white. I used what was in the scrap pile. All right, while that's dry, we're going to pop on our sentiment. I did go ahead and put the 2mm foam tape behind there. We're just going to nestle it right in there. That way it can kind of help hold those down a little bit better. And I just stamped these in the Misty and just went assembly line style and popped those right on. All right, let me turn this way. Sometimes you gotta turn your card, y'all. All right, there are 6 festive makes using some pattern paper with the new Sketch and Shine Holiday Edition number 2. Again, I will have all the supplies listed on the coordinating blog post. And if I can't find it, I will have something similar listed. But you can also download the template for free on my blog, which will be linked below. And I will see you guys in the next holiday card video. Bye guys. Love you. Stay crafty.